All right, guys, I got a GE72 MSI laptop here. I want to upgrade the SSD. It came with a 128 gigabyte SSD that is not NVMe, which is fine. It's super fast and that's wonderful, but I wanted to upgrade to an NVMe drive just because it's really not an expensive upgrade, and I like to do that on all my favorite computers. So the way to get this thing open, as you can see, I took all my little screws out. Every single one of these screws is the same. This screw here and this one here will release your DVD drive, which you can just pull right out. And the next step is to release this corner here. Basically, what I did was I stuck a credit card in this little gap here to kind of pop that loose, and then I slid the credit card all the way across the front to pop that open. The next step is to get back to this back corner and kind of pull this off the USB and try to snap this corner loose. And once that's loose, you basically want to lift up this whole side and then slide to the right, because basically over here you've got all of your ports and they kind of hang up on this. So that's why you want to do that piece last and then slide that off. And when you're putting it back together, it's exactly the same thing. You want to get this in place and pull this into place first and then go and snap all the other pieces in. Almost all the MSI laptops I've worked on have been just like that. So now you're inside, and basically I already have pulled the old SSD out of place. This is the new one. The old one had 2 keys, whereas this one, as you can see, has only 1 key in the front here, this little divot right there. So the NVMe drives will have just 1 key like this, and the non-NVMe SSDs will have 2 keys. Now this port is okay with having either drive in place, and you can only put this in one way. As you can see, that key, even when you have two keys on the end, it will only fit in one way, so you know which way you got to get in there. All right, so once you got your drive installed in place, make sure you put your little screw in the back, and then you can put this back together. So the next step, once you got it back together, what I recommend, go to Walmart and get yourself a USB 3.0, probably end up with a 32 gigabyte external USB flash drive. In my opinion, there's no point in going with USB 2.0 anymore because it's a lot slower and it's not that much cheaper. So you can get one, get a 2-pack at Walmart for like 12 bucks. And this happens to be a Samsung version or a SanDisk version, but the ONN versions are pretty good too. Anyway, so basically you go to Windows website, load this, download the setup file for the Windows Media Creation tool, and click on it and have it load Windows 10 onto this USB stick. And the next thing to do would be to boot your laptop with this in place and boot off of the USB into the Windows 10 Media Creation tool. Then tell it to install itself onto your SSD. What that's going to do is give you a nice fresh install of Windows 10 that's updated. And you can partition this drive into 2 separate drives if you want, or you can just install on one partition. I do like to partition these drives in case I want to put an image on the second partition. So that's something you can do if you want to get a little more advanced. I do recommend to do that, but it'll work great if you just use this as one giant partition and run your Windows right off of that. So once you've got Windows installed, the next thing you got to do is go to the MSI website and download a few of the choice drivers for your laptop. Some of the ones that you're going to need would be like your chipset driver, your the Intel management engine I recommend. Those 2 right there will help get some of your FN keys going, some of your volume and brightness keys and different little weird shortcuts on your keyboard. I'd also recommend make sure you download the original SteelSeries file from the MSI website specifically for this laptop. And for whatever laptop you have, because if you download from the SteelSeries website, it just really doesn't work. You have to get the MSI specific version for your model, and then you can update it from there. That'll make your keyboard basically if you have keyboard problems with your backlight on your SteelSeries keyboard, that is probably the best thing you can do to get it back to go. You need a few other, maybe your Synaptics touchpad. I don't even bother with the Nahamix software for the audio enhancer and stuff like that. That's up to you. I don't even bother with the Dragon Gaming Center because I don't game. I'm using this for video. I do use the SCM application. So once you've got your Windows installed, you got your drivers installed, maybe put a few of your favorite software and change a few of your favorite settings and whatnot. And then what I would recommend to do is take another one of these and go download the Heren's Boot CD USB version and load that onto your USB, boot from that, and look for a software in there called AOMEI Backupper, and use that to make a backup image of your nice, fresh, clean install off of this partition and then maybe copy it onto a backup hard drive or even an external hard USB drive. Or if you have two partitions, you can back it up to the second partition on your SSD. Now, what that does for you is anytime in the future that you have a problem with this computer, whether it just gets slowed down for some reason or a virus or some kind of just you put in a software in that you regret and it doesn't really uninstall properly, or just maybe it slows down over time, reinstall from the image when your computer was nice and fresh and clean. And if you have it on a partition of an SSD, it'll re-expand itself onto your main partition in a matter of minutes. You do it the same exact way. You would boot into Heren's boot CD, load up AOMEI Backupper, and there's also other choices, but I prefer AOMEI, and tell AOMEI to restore that image onto drive C, and it'll happen in a matter of minutes and you'll be back to go. There's other ways you can do that. There's other softwares you can do that with, but that one's tried and true. I do recommend to buy the AOMEI software and support their business because it is a pretty great software. And the image will be compressed, so it'll be, if you have a 30 gigabyte backup, it might only be 20 gigs or 15 gigs, something like that. So I do that with every single computer. Get a nice fresh install of Windows. I highly recommend that. I don't recommend that you reinstall from the backup software that comes with the computer. I've heard other people recommend that. I've tested that theory. I always get much better results by making a fresh install of Windows and then downloading the MSI drivers. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's actually pretty quick once you get used to it. And in theory, you would only have to do it one time because your backup software is going to cover you next time. Also, I don't use any of the built-in Windows backup softwares. I just prefer to do it with the image. And that way I feel like I have control of what's going on. I don't want to have multiple copies of Windows clogging up my drive C and stuff like that, or system restore files and stuff like that. I like to keep it real simple. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them up. I appreciate it, and good luck.